The entry-level 2027 Model Y starts at $41,630. 3 years ago, that same slot on Tesla's lineup cost $54,990.
Over the last decade, we have continually brought down the cost of our vehicles without sacrificing range, performance, or premiumness.
That's $13,000 gone.
And no, Tesla didn't just start handing out coupons. This isn't a Black Friday sale, and it's not a trim they quietly gutted while nobody was watching. What actually happened is more interesting than that, and it's what this video is about. Now look, affordable Tesla has historically ranked right up there with quiet Harley and relaxing DMV visit on the believability scale. You should be skeptical. The last decade of affordable EV announcements was mostly a masterclass in disappointment. Cars that either never shipped or shipped with a 150-mile range and the interior quality of a rental you'd be embarrassed to be seen in. But I've been going through the data, earnings letters, production updates, third-party reviews, and something genuinely shifted in 2025 and 2026. So today I'm unboxing not the car itself, but the value proposition. What you actually get, what changed. Whether the math holds up, I'll be upfront. Some of what I'm about to say is confirmed and sourced. Some of it is my own read on where things are heading, and I'll tell you which is which. You can agree, disagree, or push back in the comments. That's half the reason we do this. So what exactly did Tesla cut? Let me answer this first, because if I were you, it'd be the first thing out of my mouth. The standard trim at $41,630 versus the premium at $47,630. What actually went? No ventilated front seats, no ambient lighting, no rear touchscreen for passengers. Audio drops from 16 speakers to 7. Center screen is 15.4 inches instead of 16. That's the full list. Everything else? Glass roof, heated front seats, vegan leather upholstery, wireless charging, full navigation, the Tesla app, the entire safety suite, forward collision warning, automatic emergency braking, blind spot monitoring, adaptive cruise control, all standard, all included. Here's my take. Tesla cut the entertainment layer and the ambience layer. They left the comfort and safety layer intact. If you're in your 60s and driving mostly around town, you don't need 16 speakers. You need heated seats and a car that doesn't destroy your back on a 2-hour drive. The standard gives you that. Battery tech shifts, the part nobody's explaining properly. This is the section I actually made this video for. Tesla's been working on a cell called the 4680 since 2020. Elon Musk announced it would cut battery costs in half and enable a $25,000 Tesla. For most of the 5 years after that, the 4680 was what Wall Street would call aspirational and what I'd call not working yet. The production ramp was slow. The early charging curve was genuinely worse than the CATL packs Tesla was importing from China, and the $25,000 Tesla never came.
Then, in January 2026, Tesla confirmed in their Q4 2025 earnings letter that both the anode and the cathode of the 4680 are now manufactured using a fully dry electrode process. Both sides, at scale, in Austin, Texas.
That's confirmed. Why does it matter? Non-engineering version. Traditional battery manufacturing is wet. You mix materials with toxic solvents into chemical soup, coat it onto metal foil, then bake it in enormous ovens for 12 to 24 hours. Those ovens alone consume up to 50% of a factory's total energy. The dry process eliminates all of that. No solvents, no ovens, materials compressed directly into shape. Tesla's own stated target is 20 to 30% cheaper per cell. The 4680 format also uses about 40% fewer individual cells than the previous generation to store the same energy. That's the confirmed part. Separately, also sourced, Tesla's LFP factory at Gigafactory Nevada started early production in 2026 using equipment acquired from CATL, targeting around 7 gigawatt hours per year. LFP cells are cheaper and more thermally stable. And here's something most people don't know. LFP can be charged to 100% every single day without meaningfully degrading. If you drive 30 to 40 miles around a suburban area, that's actually a more practical chemistry for your life than the premium NMC option. One more, and I want to be clear, this part is my read, not confirmed. Panasonic, Tesla's primary battery supplier, announced in late 2025 they're developing an anode-free cell that removes graphite entirely, targeting world-leading energy density by end of 2027 out of a new factory in Kansas. I think the timing is real, but it hasn't shipped. Believe it or not, that's your call. Bottom line on the battery story, the 2027 Model Y is cheaper because the cost structure underneath it is genuinely changing, not a promotional anomaly. That distinction matters if you're trying to figure out whether this price holds. Before we get into the 3 upgrades, quick question. Based on everything so far, do you think Tesla's affordable positioning this time around is the real thing, or is this still a wait-and-see situation? Drop "I believe it" or "still skeptical" in the comments right now. I genuinely read these and they shape what we cover next. And if you're not subscribed yet, this channel is just people who want the actual numbers, not the hype. Hit subscribe before we keep going. 3 all-new upgrades, the ones that matter for how you actually live. These 3 aren't spec sheet upgrades. They're the changes that matter specifically to someone driving this car in their 50s, 60s, or 70s. Not what matters to a 28-year-old tech reviewer on YouTube. Upgrade 1, FSD-V14, when self-driving finally starts to feel like it.
I feel like Tesla's self-driving 14 can read minds. The reaction time is so good now, and its perception is so advanced.
Full self-driving has been one of the most oversold features in modern automotive history. Tesla has been promising full autonomy next year since roughly the Obama administration. I'll leave that on the table. But FSD-V14, rolling out now in 2026, confirmed for the 2027 Model Y, is a genuinely different product. Sourced from Tesla's release notes and independent testers, version 14 introduced point-to-point driving. You press Start Self-Driving, supervise, and the car handles the route, lane changes, merges, intersections, then finds a parking spot and parks itself, including reversing. It also rebuilt the AI from the ground up with a documented 20% improvement in reaction time. Real owners, not Tesla's marketing team, describe V14 as the first version that actually feels like a co-pilot rather than a student driver who's read the manual but never driven. My take: if you find long highway drives fatiguing, or your reaction time isn't quite what it was at 40, this is a practical tool, not a gadget. You're still the legal driver. But the difference between "I'm paying attention constantly" and "I'm the backup" is meaningful at a certain point in life. Pricing is now $99 per month subscription. You're not committing $8,000 up front to try it. Upgrade 2, ventilated seats and a cabin that finally treats rear passengers like people. For someone dealing with circulation issues, a bad back, or the very basic human experience of sitting in a Florida parking lot in August, ventilated seats are a health feature, not a luxury. The Juniper refresh added them to the premium trim as standard, carrying through to 2027, confirmed in every major review. The suspension was also retuned to be noticeably more forgiving over bumps. Given the state of roads in most of this country, that's not a small thing. Upgrade 3, a quieter cabin, more important than it sounds. Interior noise at 70 miles per hour, approximately 66 decibels, roughly the level of a normal conversation. Early Model Y owners flagged road and wind noise as a genuine complaint. Tesla added acoustic glass, new body sealing, and sound damping materials throughout. Confirmed in multiple third-party reviews linked in the description.
My take on why this is the most underrated of the three. Cabin noise is one of the primary things that separates a $45,000 car from a $70,000 car in terms of how it feels. People can't always say why one car feels more premium. A lot of it is what they're not hearing. Tesla finally addressed it, and specifically for older drivers, the mental fatigue of filtering background noise over a long drive is real. A quieter cabin isn't just pleasant, it's less tiring. The real math we need to talk about 2027 Model Y Standard, $41,630. Toyota RAV4 Hybrid base, roughly $34,000. The Toyota is $7,600 cheaper up front. Don't ignore that. But electric versus gasoline over 15,000 miles per year saves most Model Y owners $1,200 to $1,800 annually. Based on DOE average figures, your number will vary. Add in no oil changes, no transmission fluid, significantly lower brake wear from regenerative braking. Consumer Reports data shows EVs running materially lower 5-year maintenance costs than comparable ICE vehicles. At $1,500 per year in combined savings, you close the $7,600 gap in about 5 years. After that, you're ahead, and you're in a car that gets meaningfully better over time via OTA updates. The RAV4 you buy in 2027 is the same RAV4 you'll sell in 2032. The Model Y won't be. Real costs to factor in. FSD at $99 per month over 5 years is $5,940. Home charger installation is typically $1,000 to $1,500. These are real. Run your own version of this math. My overall take: this is the first time the entry-level Model Y is priced where the long-term math actually works for someone who isn't already a Tesla enthusiast. That's a meaningful shift. Whether it's enough to move you, that's what the comments are for.
We're at 28,767 subscribers when I write about this topic. Thank you, genuinely.
Comment 1 if you think the standard trim is the smarter buy. Comment 2 if you'd stretch to premium. And next week, full 5-year cost breakdown. 2027 Model Y versus RAV4 Hybrid versus a used 2022 Model Y. The used car numbers might change how you think about all of this. See you then.